welcome to The Link Up with me, Faiza Stone. And of course, I'm not alone. Joining me today are two gorgeous friends of mine. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Please introduce yourself to the viewers at home.
Hi guys, my name is Londiwe Ngobese.
Hi, and I'm Eva Harris, and today we are discussing relationships.
Talking about relationships, né? Like, I know it is every girl's dream to one day get married. Well, at least it's my dream to one day get married to a handsome, successful man, right? But now I want us to delve deep into this topic. Take it back to your communities. What were some of the norms growing up that you know were said to be something that drove your relationship with your partner, your husband, your boyfriend, etc.? What were some of the norms that drove your relationships?
For me, I think it's how boys are brought up mostly. Because at times, like maybe curfews will differ. Maybe for you as a girl, you have to be home by 5 or 6.
Yeah, that's
And then for
true.
a boy, like he'll come back at home by 10 and it won't be an issue.
And that's fine.
You come back at 10 and you must see what will happen. So I think even that is just, that's where it starts for me. And then it's where as a girl, if you sleep all day, they'll be like, who will marry someone like you? Or if you don't look after yourself, like if you're not clean, like who would want to marry someone like that? But for a boy, it's never questioned. Like if he doesn't want to bath, then he won't bath.
Well, for me, it's like how I was raised. Personally, it was like very complicated background. So there are some things that like I'm not aware of that like other people like cultural norms. For example, that a man is married to one woman, you don't have sex before you get married. So now the norm that we have in this society, it's like no one gets married. Like if we can even move in, especially in Joburg, we can just move in. So like for me, it's like it would affect me in the sense that like when I meet I've been affected when I met someone, they have expectations and I cannot meet those expectations because of because of society. It's a norm that we can just move in and live together
And there's no problem.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned something very important because people come from different cultures, meaning different religions. Some men, for example, get married to more than 2 wives, while in other religions, but it's not the same for women. You are only allowed to get married to one man. What's your take on that, ladies?
I don't think it's okay. I wouldn't say fair. Not like I want to marry 2 people, but like in the sense that why is a man allowed to do certain things that he can marry 5 people, but then a woman can't marry 5 men?
But somebody would then come back and answer you and say, but that's according to culture. That's how we grew up. That's the only way we know.
Another issue for me is that when a girl has like maybe multiple partners, there's a name for it. But when a man has multiple partners, no, he's the man. There are no these.
So that's the norm. Like with it's like our minds are built to believe that men can do whatever, however, and women are expected, hold back. I personally wouldn't want to marry 5 men, but it's just questionable that like why is it allowed for a man to marry 5 women and we are not allowed to do the same thing. So also just bringing in that whole patriarchal thing that men, they're above everybody, but now, with feminists, now things kind of changing.
Okay. So I hear you when you say that. And before we move on, like you said, you personally do not want to find yourself where you are. You want to be with 4 men at the same time, for example. But what then if there is somebody out there who's watching this right now and wants to be with different partners at the same time? What advice or what do you say to a person like that?
I just society doesn't allow it. Yes, we have that thing that you can live your own life and be whatever you want to be. But like people will still call you names. They'll still label you as something. Like, why are you doing that? People always judge. Like especially in my community. Like,
I think I would get affected. Like my feels, man. Like I would really just personally, for me, I wouldn't. But for someone who wants to, like, of yours, guys, I don't know if you guys are comfortable with this whole thing of having 5 men. I don't know why it's okay for men to. It looks okay if a man has 5 women, but it's even for me, it doesn't even like I wouldn't personally do that.
But
So
I feel
that's
like
how
one
we're
partner-
affected. Yeah, sorry.
One partner is like a lot to deal with. So like imagine dealing with 500 people.
It's a lot there. Okay, then now. So what about we were raised differently, obviously, and we're living in the new age. But for somebody who's maybe from, back, like who still believes that a woman's place is in the kitchen, what do you say to a person like that?
Wow. Yeah.
Because like as girls now,
I
we
was.
are supposed to be independent and not rely on somebody else. So when you find a man that he's just like wants to be the head of the house and you should follow him and he should lead, and it's not gonna be easy because at times people break up because of that. Not because they don't love one another, but because they don't believe in
Because of the
same
obstacles they are
things.
dealing with. Okay,
And
so
also-
I just want to know now, this is where feminism comes in. Would you say a lady is okay on her own without a man? Like she doesn't need a man?
That's. I think it's also personal preference.
Yeah.
I would like. I would. Just going a little bit back, thinking about one of the norms that we have in the society. I'll just tie it together with, the feminism thing and us not having to depend on men. But when you get in bringing the matrimonial idea that there's marriage and there's expectations that you have in a relationship when people get married, and then another norm, like I mentioned earlier on, that people will just move in nowadays. We just move in and live together, have kids. So like, does the expectation still be the same and stuff? So I don't know, for people that want to be independent in.
Okay, no, I hear
The
you.
fact that like when people live together, as we call it, fucking sick.
Yeah.
Like other people don't see an issue with that. Other people have this thing that they don't wanna label whatever it is that they have. But I think it's also others, they running away from commitment, which is marriage. So that's how they always go on about, I don't want to label this. Let's just go with the flow.
Okay, I hear you. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier on, we were not raised the same. So what happens to a guy who sees another guy actually mopping the floor or cleaning the baby, and then all of a sudden he starts to laugh? Because remember, like I said, we weren't raised the same way. What do you say to a person who's like that? Hi, why are you cleaning the house? Your wife is pulling you by your nose, things like that.
Or you even like bewitched.
Yeah, you
Like
bewitched.
things, yeah.
Yeah, yes, those type of things. What do you say to those type of people?
So like we're in the woke generation, that
Yeah.
there are people that it's like there are men that don't expect a woman to play specific roles in the house, like clean, look after the kids and everything. So, and then that thing that you'd find your friend that will come and probably mock you because you're cleaning the house. Like, why would you clean the house when you've got a wife or something like that? So I think also it depends on their personal level of like, I don't care like what people think or say. Like I really don't care, because my relationship has nothing to do with what society thinks. Yeah, I think that's what I think.
Like I also think it, like where you grow up influences what you become and what you and how you think. Because like thinking about the boys or men at home, like in rural areas, most of them think that like they'll never clean the house, they'll never look after the baby. But you come to Joburg and you meet other guys and you do see that they'll do stuff like that. So I think maybe where you grew up and how you grew up influences all of that.
Interesting mentioning the whole thing that like someone who's coming from the rural areas and like maybe that whole influence coming from. I also think that, in fact, I actually saw a, whether it was a meme or a video, but someone was talking about how, like, they're looking for a woman and only these qualities are the ones that he wants, that she should be able to cook, she should be able to wash, she should be able to clean and stuff. So there are people who still have that mentality that, that's
this is what you should do. You
for
specific
you
to doing this.
Yeah.
So
That's what I was going to
ladies,
mention.
Yeah. So now, how do we educate those who still have that mentality to say, no, look, it's 50-50, right? I go to work, you clean the house, you go to work, I clean the, you know, it's a 50-50 thing, even when it comes to raising the kids. Like, how do we then educate those people?
The 50-50 thing just like made me think about how like now marriage used to be marriage for love, and then now, you know, people are saying, you know, you can't chow you can't chow like love. You have to have money. So marriage is like, no, not marriage. Relationships have turned into a business. So I think that whole 50-50 thing, it also has to do with agreement between the two people.
Yeah.
But like how, like if I'm in a relationship, what are the
What are you
expectations?
expecting?
Yes.
Yes.
So that you know that where you stand and whether or not you can sort of meet what the other person's expectations are, and if you can't, like, you back out, like, this is not for me, I can't do it, and you go your separate ways.
Some women are okay with being
Submissive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
great. Like they're okay with that. They're okay with being like a housewife and everything. So
But I've met a guy that he doesn't believe in this 50-50 thing, and he's like, that's why maybe our grandparents' marriages worked, and why marriages now don't work, because we're all about being independent and whatever and equal. So
Because if you look at it now, today's divorce rate are like really, really high compared to back in the days. But also, you know, there are other contributing factors like the internet and all those type of things. But that's a topic for another day.
also the lasting marriage. Okay, I know, but it's just gonna be real quick. But also the lasting marriage. They're really happy.
exactly.
Are they really happy? That's another question. Maybe our viewers at home can tell us what they think. Guys, we have come to the end of our show, but if you'd like to comment, please do so on all our social media platforms. We are it all day. And please don't forget to hashtag the link up. That is all from us. It's goodbye. Till next time.